In this moving video we tell the story of Robin Williams, the comedy and film genius who left an unforgettable mark on the hearts of millions. From his imaginative childhood, to his rise in Hollywood, to his struggles with mental health issues, this video celebrates the legacy of a man who made the world laugh, cry, and reflect. With iconic roles such as Aladdin, Mrs. Doubtfire, and Dead Poets Society, Robin was not just an actor or comedian. He was a symbol of compassion, creativity, and humanity. Discover how he touched lives, spread joy, and faced challenges, leaving a message that lives on to this day. More before we continue, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any updates. Like and share with your friends because here, every story is an intense and unforgettable adventure. Take the opportunity to leave a comment below and tell me what you thought. Robin McLaurin Williams was born on July 21, 1951, in a comfortable home in Chicago, Illinois. From the beginning, it seemed that Robin had everything to be a happy child. His father, Robert Williams, was a top executive at Ford Motor Company, and his mother, Lori, was a stunning former model. The family lived surrounded by luxury and comfort, but wealth does not always buy what matters most: love, attention, and company. Robin was an only child and his parents were almost always busy. His father's work kept him away for long hours, while his mother, with her elegant and sociable style, was always busy with commitments and events. This left Robin alone in the family's huge house, a place that, despite its beauty, could seem frighteningly empty to a small boy. But Robin had something special inside him, something that even he could not explain: a limitless imagination. Robin was always indoors, creating entire worlds with his toys. Dolls, cars, even random objects transformed into incredible characters in his mind. Each one had a voice, a story, a role to play. He would spend hours talking to his toys. His favorites were little plastic soldiers which he could make march, fight, and even dance with hilarious dialogue. Robin could transform himself into an entire army all by himself, with voices and personalities so unique that it seemed like there were dozens of people in the room. Imagine a boy with messy hair, kneeling on the floor of a room full of toys, bringing to life a universe of his own. It was almost magical. "I had no one around me, so I made my own friends," he once said, reflecting on his childhood. Even at school, Robin was different. He wasn't the most popular kid, but he always had a way of getting attention. He made the kids laugh. He would imitate teachers, create characters in the middle of class, and make jokes that no one expected. It was as if he was born with the ability to turn any ordinary moment into something extraordinary. Can you imagine how he slowly discovered the power of laughter? How, in the midst of loneliness, he found a refuge in his imagination that not only helped him survive, but also made him shine. Robin learned early on that loneliness could be painful, but it was also the place where his creativity flourished. He may not have known it at the time, but that shy, lonely boy who talked to his toys was on his way to becoming one of the greatest comedy and acting geniuses of all time. And do you know what's amazing? The same boy who used his imagination to combat loneliness grew up and used this gift to bring joy to millions of people around the world. How many children turn toys into companions? Robin made it a talent, a gift to the world. The awakening of comedy at school. Imagine a school hallway full of children talking and laughing. Now, in the middle of this group, visualize a boy with brown hair, a little shy, but with a sparkle in his eyes that seemed to hold something special. This was Robin Williams, and even though he wasn't the most popular or the most confident, he had a secret that would change everything. He knew how to make people laugh. At school, while other students ran to recess to play ball or chat, Robin used that time to create little improvised performances. He would observe his classmates, his teachers, even the adults in his life, and then imitate them perfectly, making everyone around him laugh. Robin was a true chameleon. He could change his voice, his gestures, and even his facial expression in seconds. One moment he would be the science teacher talking seriously, and the next he would be the janitor complaining about the mess in the hallway. The kids would be left open-mouthed. "How does he do that?" they would think. And before they knew it, they were laughing so hard they couldn't even breathe. But you know what's funny? Outside of this improvised stage, Robin was very shy. He wasn't the kid who raised his hand in class or led groups of friends. But the moment someone said, "Robin, do that voice again," he would transform. It was as if, by making people laugh, he found a part of himself that made sense. He felt that this was where he really shined. Robin also had a special way of observing the world. He noticed things that no one else noticed. How the principal talked with his hands, how the bus driver shook his head while driving, or even how nervous a classmate got before a test. All of this became material for his jokes and imitations. And it wasn't just about making others laugh. Robin had a huge heart. If he noticed that someone was sad or feeling left out, he would make sure to use his talent to cheer that person up. One time, a classmate told him that she was worried that she hadn't studied for a difficult test. Robin, without thinking twice, started imitating the teacher, saying, "Don't worry, young lady, this test is so easy that even I got half the answers wrong." The girl laughed so hard that she forgot about her fear. The hallways of school became Robin's first stage, and his classmates his first audience. Without realizing it, he was beginning to understand the transformative power of comedy. It wasn't just about jokes. It was about connecting people, turning difficult moments into something lighter, and most of all, spreading joy. You know what's amazing? Even though Robin was still just a kid, he was already writing the first chapters of a story that would make the whole world laugh and fall in love with him. The big turning point at Juilliard. After years of making his friends laugh and turning the school into his makeshift stage, Robin Williams made a big decision. He wanted to take that talent further. He wanted to be more than just a funny kid at school. He wanted to be an artist. So with determination and courage, Robin enrolled at Claremont Men's College, where he began to explore the world of theater. At first, he was learning the basics: how to play characters, project his voice, and understand the stage. But something quickly became clear. Robin wasn't like the other students. He had something unique. While his classmates followed the scripts to the letter, Robin couldn't resist improvising, adding a funny line here, an exaggerated expression there. His teachers noticed that he had an energy that could not be taught. After a while, Robin felt he needed a place where he could truly explore his full potential. And that's when something incredible happened. He was accepted into the Juilliard School, one of the most prestigious art schools in the world in New York. Just the name Juilliard is enough to make any artist's eyes light up. It's where the best of the best go to become even better. Now imagine this: Robin with that uncontrollable energy walking through the halls of Juilliard. It was a serious place, where students dedicated themselves intensely to achieving perfection. But Robin was different. While others were focused on following every rule, Robin brought something new. He didn't just memorize the lines, he brought them to life in a way no one expected. He could transform even the most dramatic scene into something full of nuances and sometimes even humor. He didn't break the rules of theater, he reinvented them. At Juilliard, Robin met teachers who shaped his talent even further. One of them was John Houseman, a legend in the theater world. Houseman was impressed by Robin. He said something that left a lasting impression: "There's a lot to teach him, but he's already unique." This phrase captured the essence of Robin. He was one of those rare talents who are born with something special, something that no one can teach. Sure, he needed to learn techniques and perfect his craft, but his creativity, his energy, and his ability to captivate were innate. But Juilliard wasn't just a place for technical learning. It was there that Robin began to understand the power of theater, comedy, and drama. He saw that he could use all of these to tell stories that made people laugh, cry, and think. It was also a place where he learned to discipline himself, to channel his energy without losing his essence. Despite his talent, Robin's path wasn't easy. The pressure was high, and there were times when he questioned whether he was in the right place. But every time he stepped on stage, whether it was to perform Shakespeare or create something from scratch, he felt like he was exactly where he was supposed to be. And so, at Juilliard, Robin Williams not only found his path, but he began to shape the genius the world would come to know and love. Because sometimes, the combination of unique talent and dedicated effort creates something no one can ignore. Start up with Mork and Mindy. It was the late 1970s and Robin Williams was looking for his big break. He had already showcased his talent in comedy clubs, wowing audiences with his quick wit, funny voices, and seemingly endless energy. But what no one knew was that he was about to take a giant leap, one that would make him a household name in every household in America. And it all began in a way as unusual as Robin himself. One day, Robin was called in for an audition that seemed strange. They were looking for someone to play Mork, an eccentric alien who would make an appearance in an episode of the series Happy Days. The idea was for Mork to be funny and a little weird, but what Robin delivered was something far beyond what anyone expected. When he arrived for the audition, the director asked Robin to sit down. Instead of using a chair, Robin sat upside down with his legs thrown over the back. Everyone in the room burst out laughing, and the role was his right away. It was as if Mork had been made for him. Mork's appearance on Happy Days was so captivating that the character got his own series, Mork and Mindy, which premiered in 1978. And that's when the world got to know the true power of Robin Williams. In the series, Mork was an alien from the planet Ork sent to Earth to study humans. He lived with Mindy, a sweet and down-to-earth young woman, and together they faced funny and at times touching situations. But what made Mork and Mindy so special was Robin. He didn't just follow the script, he reinvented every scene. Robin had the freedom to improvise, and he made the most of it. He would create hilarious dialogue on the spot, use different voices, and do such funny moves that it seemed like his energy was otherworldly, just as Mork should be. Phrases like "Nanu Nanu" and his hand salute became a hit. People would imitate Mork on the street, and kids loved the alien's goofy, charismatic manner. With each episode, Robin showed that there were no limits to his creativity. One moment he would be joking around like a child, and the next he would be delivering a profound message about humanity and life. Audiences couldn't take their eyes off him. He wasn't just funny, he was fascinating. Mork and Mindy was an instant hit. Robin Williams went from a promising comedian to an international TV star practically overnight. He was nominated for awards, appeared on talk shows, and became a beloved figure among all ages. People eagerly awaited new episodes to see what he would come up with next. But perhaps most impressive was how Robin, in his own unique way, managed to blend humor and emotion. He didn't just make people laugh, he also touched their hearts. Like Mork, he explored humanity with a curious and enchanted eye, and that made the audience connect with him deeply. Mork and Mindy was more than a show. It was the moment when Robin Williams went from being just a promising talent to a phenomenon. One thing was certain: the world would never be the same after Mork and Robin, the brilliant comedian who set the stage on fire. Imagine a room full of people, every chair occupied, the lights dimmed until the stage was illuminated only by a spotlight. The anticipation was in the air. Suddenly, Robin Williams appeared with his overwhelming energy and that mischievous smile that seemed to say, "You have no idea what's coming." And then he began. Robin didn't just take the stage, he owned the stage. His stand-up shows were like a whirlwind. He would come on stage and within seconds have the audience in the palm of his hand. It was impossible to predict what he would do or say next. He would start by imitating a funny voice, switch to an absurd situation, make a clever political critique, and before the audience had time to breathe, he would be imitating an animal or creating a hilarious character. Robin was like a comedic athlete, always on the move. He didn't just stand still behind the microphone. He would run from one side to the other, gesticulate, jump, even fall to the floor if the joke called for it. Each show was unique because he loved to improvise. Often he would take an idea that someone shouted from the audience and turn it into an entire sequence of jokes. It was as if his mind was working a mile a minute, connecting ideas and creating humor in the same instant. And the voices? Oh, Robin was a master of voices. He could change his tone and accent in the blink of an eye. One moment he was a serious British politician, the next a clumsy futuristic robot, and the next a crying baby. It was impossible not to laugh. His ability to transform into any character, right there in front of everyone, was something no one else did like that. What's more, his shows were a perfect mix of wit and fun. Robin didn't just joke about simple things like everyday life or embarrassing situations. He also talked about deeper issues like society, government, and even life itself. But even when the topic was serious, he found a way to make it light and funny. People would leave his shows exhausted from laughing so much. Some said it felt like they had worked out at the gym just watching him. He changed subjects so quickly, made so many unlikely connections, that it was like watching a magic show. Except instead of tricks, he created laughs. But do you know what made Robin even more special? He wasn't on stage just to show off how brilliant he was. He was there to connect. It was like he was saying, "Hey, life can be hard, but let's laugh about it together." And the audience felt that. Robin Williams was not just a comedian. He was a storyteller, a mimic, a thinker, and, above all, someone who knew that laughter could heal. And on stage he was nothing short of a legend. Battling the demons of fame. In the 1980s, Robin Williams was at the height of his fame. He was loved by millions, both on stage and on TV and in the movies. But what few people knew was that behind the infectious smile and quick jokes was a man battling his own demons. And this battle was silent, intense, and dangerous. With fame came a world of excess. Hollywood at that time was known for endless parties, where drinking and drugs were commonplace. Robin, with his insatiable energy and open personality, was drawn to this lifestyle. He began using cocaine and alcohol to cope with the pressure, the fatigue, and perhaps even with an emptiness that he himself could not explain. Robin once described cocaine as something that calmed his racing mind. For a man whose brain seemed to be working at 1,000 miles an hour, this might have seemed like a solution at first. But as many know, these substances don't solve problems, they make them worse. And over time, drug use began to affect his personal and professional life. Things came to a head in 1982, when the world lost actor and comedian John Belushi, a close friend of Robin's. John died of a drug overdose just hours after spending time with Robin and another friend. This event was a devastating blow. Robin saw firsthand what could happen if he continued on that path. It was at that moment that he made a courageous decision to seek help. Robin knew he needed to change not only for himself but also for the family he was starting to build. He became a father to his first son, Zachary, in 1983, and this gave him even more motivation to leave his addictions behind. He wanted to be a present father, someone his son could trust and look up to. Robin distanced himself from drugs and alcohol, seeking support in recovery programs and the strength of his family and friends. He began to speak more openly about his inner struggles, something few had the courage to do at the time. Robin didn't want to be just a comedian or an actor. He wanted to be someone who made a difference both in his own life and in the lives of others. As difficult as it was, Robin managed to stay sober for many years, showing admirable willpower. But as he himself admitted, this struggle was ongoing. He described addiction as a little demon that never quite goes away. Yet he faced this demon with humor, hope, and determination. Even in the most difficult battles, Robin never lost his essence. He turned his pain into purpose, his struggle into a lesson, and continued to make us laugh, even when he was facing the biggest storms inside. Robin Williams, conquering Hollywood as a multifaceted actor. By the late 1980s, Robin Williams was already a household name for his ability to make anyone laugh, but he felt he could go further. He wanted to show the world that behind the frenetic energy and quick jokes, there was an actor with depth, someone capable of moving people and telling stories that touched people's hearts. And that's exactly what he did. In 1987, Robin starred in the film Good Morning, Vietnam. He played Adrian Cronauer, an irreverent DJ in the U.S. Armed Forces who brought humor and music to soldiers during the Vietnam War. From the moment he shouted his famous "Good Morning, Vietnam" into the microphone, it was clear that this was a special role. The film was the perfect combination of everything Robin did best: hilarious improvisation, irresistible charisma, and an unexpected sensitivity. He not only made audiences laugh with his impersonations and improvised jokes, but also made them feel the weight of war, the sadness, and the challenge of bringing joy amidst the chaos. His performance was so remarkable that he received his first Oscar nomination. It was proof that Robin was not just a comedian. He was a complete entertainer. And he didn't stop there. In 1989, Robin moved the world in Dead Poets Society. He played Professor John Keating, a man who inspired his students to think for themselves and pursue their passion for life. Who can forget the scene where the students stand on the desks and say, "Oh, Captain, my Captain?" Robin's performance was powerful yet subtle. He showed a more restrained side but still deeply impactful. The film was a worldwide success and proved that Robin could do much more than just comedy. He had the ability to carry powerful messages, to inspire and to move. Millions of people left the theaters thinking the film's iconic line, "Carpe diem," seize the day. And then came The Fisher King in 1991, another role that showed his incredible versatility. Robin played Perry, a man broken by trauma but still full of hope and magic. His performance was raw and painful but also full of moments of humor and lightness. It was as if he was showing the audience that even in the darkest situations, there was still room for laughter. Robin was not afraid to throw himself into roles that required real emotion. He was a master at balancing humor with seriousness, laughter with pain. Each film he made seemed to reveal a new facet of his acting ability. He could be the teacher who inspired you, the DJ who made you laugh, and the broken man who made you cry, sometimes all in one film. Robin Williams was becoming not only one of the most talented actors in Hollywood, but also one of the most beloved. He was a unique presence on screen, someone who could make you laugh until your stomach hurt and the next, leave you with tears in your eyes. Robin wasn't just acting, he was living each character, bringing a piece of his own soul to them. And that's why, to this day, his films continue to inspire us, make us laugh, and sometimes remind us to see the beauty in pain. Robin Williams. A love for making children laugh. Robin Williams had a rare gift. He didn't just make people laugh, he transported them to worlds where imagination had no limits. And when it came to children, he seemed to speak directly to them, as if he understood what made them dream and smile. That's what made him a true idol for several generations. It all started with a magical role. Peter Banning, the adult who rediscovers his essence as Peter Pan in Hook, 1991. Imagine a story where the man who forgot what it was like to be a child must rescue his own children in the world of Neverland. Robin was perfect for the role. He brought to the character a mix of humor, tenderness, and that sense of adventure that seemed to be always present in his life. The children who watched the film didn't just see Peter Pan. They saw a friend who inspired them to never stop believing in magic. And of course, who can forget the iconic genie from Aladdin? In 1992, Robin voiced this character who not only stole the show in the film, but practically became the heart of the story. He transformed the genie into something much more than a supporting character. With his unbridled energy, quick voice changes, and never-ending jokes, Robin made the genie funny, but also extremely endearing and emotional. You've never had a friend like him. And it was true. Children all over the world laughed at his jokes and were moved by his loyalty to Aladdin. Even without appearing physically, Robin brought the genie to life in a way that only he could. But perhaps the most unforgettable role for many children and parents was in Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993. Robin played Daniel Hillard, a father who, after a divorce, disguises himself as the lovable and hilarious British nanny Mrs. Doubtfire, in order to be close to his children. The film was a comedy, but it also had a powerful message about love and family. Robin made children laugh with his antics as Mrs. Doubtfire, but he also showed how much a father can love his children. No matter the confusion or the laughter, the heart of the story was always there. And that's what made Robin so special. He could balance humor with heart like no one else. In addition to the movies, Robin always made a point of using his fame to bring joy to children off-screen. He visited children's hospitals, dressed as his characters or with a huge smile on his face, and made jokes or sang to children who were going through difficult times. For Robin, making a child smile was more than a job. It was a mission. Robin had this unique ability to connect with the hearts of children. It wasn't just about being funny. It was about understanding what made them dream, believe in the impossible, and feel that the world was a place full of magic. Do you know why Robin was so loved by children? Because he didn't just talk to them, he understood them. He made each one feel that, with a little imagination, anything was possible. Robin Williams, the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. A well-deserved victory. By 1997, Robin Williams was already a renowned star. He had won over audiences with his comedic and emotional performances, racking up Oscar nominations over the years. But it was with his role as Dr. Sean Maguire in the film Good Will Hunting that he finally achieved the recognition his talent so richly deserved. And this win was more than just an award. It was a moment that defined Robin's greatness as an artist. In the film, Robin played a psychologist with a life story marked by pain and love. His character is tasked with helping Will Hunting, a troubled and brilliant young man, played by Matt Damon. What makes this performance so special is the way Robin brings incredible depth and humanity to the role. He wasn't just the serious psychologist. He was real, vulnerable, and full of wisdom. Who could forget the scene in which Dr. Maguire looks at Will and says the memorable line, "It's not your fault." By repeating these words with such empathy, he not only touched the character in the film, but also moved millions of viewers around the world. It was as if Robin was speaking directly to all of us, reminding us that even in the most difficult circumstances, there is room for healing and understanding. The most moving moment of Robin's performance was that it didn't rely on jokes or exaggerations. He connected with the audience in a sincere way, bringing a quiet strength and emotional intensity that showed a side of him that many had not yet seen. The chemistry between Robin and Matt Damon was so authentic that it felt like the two were truly sharing something much deeper than simple words. When Oscar night arrived, the audience had already placed their bets. And when Robin Williams' name was announced as the winner of the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor, the entire room erupted in applause. Robin, visibly moved, walked up to the stage to accept his award. He began his speech with that typical touch of humor, thanking his wife and joking, "I guess it was because I didn't have to wear a leotard in this movie." But between the jokes there was gratitude. Robin thanked the film's writers, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, who had taken a chance on him for the role. He also thanked his castmates and the audience who had always supported him. It was a speech full of humility, showing that even though he was one of the biggest stars in the world, he never lost the essence of what made him so special: his heart. This win was not only a recognition for his role in Good Will Hunting, but a celebration of Robin's entire career up to that point. He proved that he was much more than a brilliant comedian. He was one of the greatest actors of his generation, someone capable of making audiences laugh and cry with equal intensity. Robin didn't need an Oscar to prove his talent, but in that moment, the whole world stopped to recognize something that everyone already knew. He was unique, irreplaceable, and a true genius. Robin Williams, a generous heart who spread joy off stage. Robin Williams had an incredible talent for making people laugh, but what made him truly special was the size of his heart. Despite being one of the biggest stars in the world, he never stopped looking out for those who needed help, especially children. And do you know what was even more incredible? He did this without seeking applause or the spotlight. He helped because he truly cared. Robin had a special affection for children who were going through difficult times, especially those who were sick. He was known for visiting children's hospitals, entering the children's rooms as if he were putting on a show just for them. Sometimes he would arrive dressed as one of his iconic characters, like Mrs. Doubtfire, or simply with that infectious smile that seemed to fill the room with light. On one such visit, a nurse said that Robin spent hours talking to a child who was afraid of a medical procedure. He started making jokes, changed his voice several times, pretended to be a crazy doctor, and in the end made the child laugh out loud. After that, she was calmer and ready to face the treatment. For Robin, this was the true power of laughter, to ease pain and make difficult times more bearable. In addition to his hospital visits, Robin also supported several humanitarian causes. He was a major supporter of Comic Relief, an organization that raised funds to combat poverty and help people in vulnerable situations. He participated in events, gave presentations, and used his talent to attract donations. But again, he did not do it for fame. He knew that with his position he could make a difference, and he did it with all his heart. A touching example of Robin's generosity was when he helped one of his longtime colleagues, Christopher Reeve, the Eternal Superman, who became quadriplegic after an accident. Robin not only helped financially but was also there emotionally, visiting Reeve and his family, doing what he did best, bringing joy even in the darkest moments. The beautiful thing about all this was that Robin made no effort to publicize his good deeds. He didn't want the cameras around him. He wasn't there to be applauded. He was there because he felt it was the right thing to do. To him, making someone smile, especially during a difficult time, was a gift far greater than any trophy or award. Robin believed that laughter was a form of healing, and he dedicated his life to spreading that to as many people as possible. He showed that true generosity is not in how much you give, but in how you touch the lives of those around you. Do you know what made Robin so special? He wasn't just a funny man. He was someone who saw joy as a form of love. He used his light to brighten the darkest days of so many people. And that's why, even off the stage, he will always be remembered as a shining star. Robin Williams, the shadows behind the shine. Robin Williams was known for the laughter he brought to the world, but behind all that infectious joy, there was a silent internal struggle. Despite his success, the acclaim, and the love he received from millions, Robin struggled with mental health issues, including depression and anxiety. And in the last years of his life, an even more difficult battle began to emerge. For someone so bright and energetic, dealing with his own mind could be devastating. Robin often used humor as a way to mask the pain. He said that laughter was his way of coping with what he was feeling inside. And it made sense. The man who made everyone feel better had a hard time dealing with his own pain. In his later years, things got even more complicated. Robin was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, a neurodegenerative condition that affects the brain. This cruel disease not only impairs memory, but also brings mental confusion, hallucinations, and changes in behavior. For someone like Robin, whose mind had always been a creative and brilliant whirlwind, this disease was a devastating blow. Robin began to realize that something was wrong. He was having trouble remembering his lines, something he had never experienced before. He also began to feel a tiredness that could not be explained. It was as if something inside him was slowly fading the spark that had always accompanied him. He shared these moments with those closest to him, but he often isolated himself, trying to understand what was happening. Lewy body dementia is a cruel disease because, in addition to damaging the body, it affects the mind in ways that make it difficult to even connect with the world around him. For Robin, this meant losing parts of who he was. His quick thinking, his ability to improvise, his energy. And for someone who had always thrived on connecting with others, this was devastating. But even in the darkest moments, Robin continued to try to bring joy to the people around him. He still made his friends laugh, he was still kind to everyone he met. He was the kind of person who, even when he was suffering, put the well-being of others first. On August 11, 2014, Robin Williams was found dead in his California home at the age of 63. The cause of death was ruled a suicide by hanging. This devastating news shocked the world, especially since Robin was known for his infectious energy and talent for bringing joy to others. But as it was later revealed, he was fighting an invisible battle that made the last months of his life extremely difficult. Doctors who examined his brain after his death confirmed that Lewy body dementia was in an advanced stage, and the symptoms he experienced were so debilitating that even those closest to him could not fully understand the severity of his struggle. He was struggling not only with the emotional challenges of living with mental illness, but also with the fear of losing the very thing that defined him: his brilliant, creative mind. Robin's decision was deeply painful for his loved ones and the entire world, but his death brought important conversations about mental health and invisible illnesses to the forefront. It was a reminder that even those who make us laugh and seem to have perfect lives may be struggling with pain that no one can see. Robin Williams left us sooner than the world was ready to accept, but his story reminds us that we must always look out for one another, look beyond appearances, and offer support to those who are fighting their own battles. His light lives on in his work and in the memories of everyone he touched, proving that despite the shadows, he brought more joy and love to the world than anyone could have imagined. But while Robin left us physically, he was never truly gone. His mark on the world is indelible. Think of all the times you laughed until your stomach hurt watching Mrs. Doubtfire or Aladdin. Or the silent tears that flowed when you heard "Oh Captain, my Captain" in Dead Poets Society. These emotions are Robin's legacy, a living reminder that he gave us more than movies, he gave us pieces of his heart. Robin's impact is not just in his art but in the way he touched people. He used his fame to brighten the lives of others, visiting children's hospitals, raising money for humanitarian causes, and most of all, reminding everyone that laughter is a powerful gift. He was living proof that humor can be a balm, even in the darkest of times. And that's how we should remember Robin Williams, as the man who made the world a lighter and brighter place. His legacy is not just one of comedy, but of humanity, compassion, and a deep love for life, even when he himself was facing the most difficult struggles. Robin left us with a clear message: cherish laughter, celebrate joy, and above all, be kind to others and to yourself. And now it's up to you. If this story touched your heart and you believe that Robin Williams' legacy deserves to be shared with the world, please like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss more inspiring stories like this one. Because together we can keep alive the memory of those who taught us to laugh, love, and dream.